is Kelly, and this is why I think you should make a collage. I can't say if this was when I made my first ever collage, but I know that this was when it actually clicked in my head, why I loved making collages so much. When I was in my senior year, I used to get just so much mail from colleges, please go here, you should apply. You know, the way my parents thought about it, it was a good thing to get so many letters from all these places, but for me, it just gave me analysis paralysis. I never even had the time when I was younger to figure out what I wanted to do, let alone where I wanted to go to college. All I knew was I wanted to get out of here, and that didn't exactly work out. And I think that's why I ended up feeling so much resentment for those pieces of mail. I was getting all these messages that I was such a good student, I had all the grades for it, but I still even that didn't end up getting me into the college that I wanted to get into. There's this part of me that always felt a lot of this is a marketing scam. You want me to go here because it gets you money, but do you actually value me as a student? Are you actually invested in my future? I'm trying to be invested in yours. But that's a story for a different day. I just remember coming home, it was Christmas break of my freshman year, and I was just feeling so irritated, so distraught about the way that my future was going, and that was at the beginning of my college career, so you can imagine how the rest of it went. I'd always loved bullet journaling, and when I was younger, I used to take the old magazines that we get and cut out the pictures. I looked through a lot of the mail that I'd gotten, and I realized that a lot of the design was still really cool, even though I hated the schools and I didn't want to go there anymore. I was I could use that for something now. The first spread that I ever did was, I called it a case study on burnout. And so I used a lot of the art that I found from those letters and stuff as illustrations for these little journal entries that I decided to do. In the moment, I forgot all about why I was writing it in the first place. It just kind of felt more just a release of all the emotions that I had pent up from my senior year and not getting the outcome that I had worked so hard for. The one thing that I loved about it was just how no matter what the shape of the picture was, I could just work with it. I didn't have to plan it out. It honestly worked better when I didn't plan it out. Using what was there and turning it into something new and something that told a different story than what I had been telling myself before. It was just very satisfying. It was such an emotional release for me. I honestly think of collaging now as a physical form of transmutation. So the way that transmutation works is you have an emotion, you turn it into a different emotion through some kind of process. I had all this sadness and guilt and resentment and all that stuff built up, but instead of just letting it build up and releasing it, I turned it into something else, both physically, mentally, spiritually. As I'm taking this paper and cutting it up, I'm not only changing what it was to me into something new, but I'm also I'm literally changing the way that I look at it, making the most out of it and throwing away the stuff that I don't need at the end of it. The story that I had told myself in the past is not always gonna be that way, and that's the same way with anything in life. It's once you decide what you want it to mean to you, you can turn it into that, no matter how somebody else has written the narrative for you, no matter what letters that they sent you and what they say. You don't have to take the past with you. I think that's something that this really taught me. No matter what it looked like before, it can always become something else. It just became a hobby that I do with my friends. We'd go thrifting and find different books. It doesn't even have to mean exactly what you want it to mean when you collage it. It can mean anything. You can pick up a book just because you like the pictures in it, and even if you hate the words. It could be literally some crazy ass shit from the 19th century. It was just the best way of telling myself that meanings change, and life is what you make of it. I was watching this Agnes Varda video just a couple minutes ago, and she was what makes things beautiful is the way that you look at them. When you realize that you have the power to make anything in your life beautiful, no matter what it was before, no matter what it's gonna be tomorrow. And that's why I think you guys should make a collage, even if it sucks. It literally does not have to be the most perfect looking thing out there. You just have to start, life's a lot like that too. Like, you just kind of pick up the pieces as you go. I think one thing that doing art for even the short period that I have been doing art has taught me is that, like, you can't say everything in words. And sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes the more that you try to describe a feeling or an event or an emotion, the less sense it makes to you. And taking something that was once just part of the world and tearing it up and making my own meaning into it has done more for my self expression than saying the right words to the right people has ever done for me. And that's why collaging means so much to me. Please make a collage if you want to. I'm not forcing you to at all. But if you do, you should show it to me. I think Garbage has an email now, so I will put that in the description. Or you can DM me or whatever. I just want to see it. So, yeah. Happy collaging and stay trashy.